Who's not coming down the track? Who's not coming down the track? And the leader, she is red white. Ain't nothing finer in the land. Ain't nothing finer in the land. When the drums are marching straight to bed. Come on, come on.
What's up, y'all? This is John, Mike, and Caleb back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. As always, you can find us. Normally, we would be live on YouTube. It is Sunday night. Um, I'm not sure how many times I'm going to have to edit out me coughing, so I didn't want to do it live tonight. I'm still slightly sick, but on the upswing from it. So hopefully, by the time we record again, my voice won't be awful and I won't be coughing in your ears. But talking about the first round of the playoffs tonight. And before we get into that, how have y'all been? What are you drinking?
I had my first family Christmas party of the year this evening, and while I love my family dearly, so I don't want to say anything against them, but I had to spike some cider for this podcast tonight after that because
Heard.
overstimulation is real.
Oh yeah.
What about you guys? How are you?
I'm good. I'm just happy there wasn't any football on today. No
Yeah,
45-year-old
no football
quarterback.
games happening.
Yeah, no 45-year-old quarterback just ripping my heart out.
Again.
Again and again. It's a tradition unlike any other. He should be in prison. But no, I'm good. We're actually gonna leave early in the morning tomorrow and go up to see my family in Detroit. We were gonna do that Tuesday initially, and then we're like, we're not doing anything. Let's go a little bit earlier. So yeah, bright and early tomorrow. But John, how about you? I got a Bud Light too. So
We went to the Ghost Pirates teddy bear toss today. One of the more fun hockey events that's really kind of special to hockey. And if you're unfamiliar, the home team, they host a teddy bear toss, and the first goal the home team scores, everybody in the stands that brought one or multiple throws a teddy bear onto the ice. And it's like thousands of teddy bears. Normally they go to a local children's hospital, and that's what Savannah does. And man, today Savannah scored a goal a minute or 2.5 minutes into the game,
there we
and
go.
it was a good one, right? Like it wasn't one of those four people touched it and it barely went in. Like this was hit the back of the net and came back out before the goalie realized it even came in. And everybody went nuts, and it was great. Thousands of teddy bears got donated to the Children's Hospital today. And then about 2 minutes later, Savannah scores another one, and this is like a 30-foot sniper shot
Mm.
over the goalie's stick hand, and everybody's like, "Yeah, let's go! Screw the Everblades!" And then Savannah didn't score again. They
Oof.
Oklahoma'd the hell out of that game,
Boy.
and 2-0 lead. Less than 5 minutes into the game, proceeds to be a 3-2 loss. Um, just it was gross. It was disgusting. I'll be honest, I did not scream as much as I normally do and heckle the goalie and the other players. So I do take a little bit of responsibility for that. I also wasn't wearing my Georgia hockey hat today because I woke up early enough to take a shower before church. And I did something with my hair because normally I wear a hat to church and I don't like to. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look nice today. And it's my fault that Savannah lost because it's the first Savannah game that I've been to where they lost this year, and it's the only one I wasn't wearing a hat to. So it's my fault.
And apparently the ECHL players they may be going on strike. We'll see about that.
We will find out.
Yeah,
I do have to. Go ahead. Yeah.
no. So I know there are some people that listen to the show that are older and don't like NIL, and the players just need to be happy they have somewhere to play. The average ECHL player, if they're on an ECHL contract, make around $500 a week, and they are only paid during the season. So they're making not a lot of money just for a few months out of the year, and then they have to get a part-time job or have a business that they can just start up out of nowhere in the off season. The referees in the ECHL make almost twice as much as the players. The players are required to go to like signings and events and like different gatherings throughout the week most of the time. It's almost once a week Savannah's having like, oh hey, come hang out at B&D Burgers with your favorite Ghost Pirates players, and they have to go. And they don't get paid for that. They don't get paid when the Ghost Pirates sell a player worn and signed jersey for $1,500. Like they get 0% of that. So these guys, like, I understand not wanting a minor league team to go on strike, but if y'all can't pay these players more than these refs who have no clue what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
what we need? Oh, you can sell this guy's jersey and pay him $0.
Well, and it's not like they're like Savannah Bananas pricing inside the stadium. I mean, it's like NHL and concert
Right.
pricing, everything. Like a Ghost Pirates
$160 for a jersey,
I was gonna say, I'm
$40
like,
for
yeah,
a t-shirt.
yeah.
Like, and y'all can't pay these boys more than what $500 a week is 20-ish dollars an hour, I think. Maybe less.
I feel like that's less. That's
Yeah,
$2,000 a month, right? That's not very good.
yeah. These
It
it's
might be
insane.
much. Yeah.
It's insane. They deserve to go on strike. But what's going to end up happening is, Tim Tebow, who owns like half of the ECHL teams, is just gonna like the Macon Mayhem. Uh, all those guys are just gonna get one-way ECHL contracts until the strike's over.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna keep calling up guys until like we get like pond hockey guys coming up from like
Oh,
Saskatchewan.
dude, the Rock Lobsters are about to be playing some high school kids because the Rock Lobsters, the Macon Mayhem, Columbus, River Dragons, like they're all just, hey, boys, you got a contract for 2 weeks because there's no actual spirit of, like actually wanting players to do well. And even though Tim Tebow's a great person, he's still a businessman, and his 5 ECHL teams are not going to go without playing games because the players are on strike.
Yeah, whoever the scabs are, get ready to learn Savannian, boys.
All right, that was a little bit of a tangent about just the insane
Yeah.
minor league. This is almost as bad as like the 2020 minor league baseball players. Like, hey guys, we still want you to occasionally play games, but it's up to the owners if they're going to pay you, and most of them don't want to.
Yeah.
But
I will say, speaking of hat-based jinxes, I bought a new hat that I'm going to wear for the Sugar Bowl yesterday. I did not go with the In Gunner We Trust that I sent you, although they did have a couple in stock, because that's not going to show up on the camera. But there's a cool little bulldog wearing a hat and a hoodie that I couldn't resist when I got it.
I like that. Yeah, it's
So
too
if
bad.
we,
Those hats can't fit my head. It's just my head's
yeah,
just so big. Sorry, guy.
yeah. Well, it happens. They say when your head is big, other things are small. But yeah.
No, facts. Facts.
But yeah, if we do end up losing to Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl, I will take full responsibility for that.
I'm glad someone has to,
Yeah.
because we tried to give everyone else responsibility for last year's loss.
Mhm.
Yeah. One of them actually deserved it, but yeah, this year it would just be my fault.
Speaking of people who deserve everything they get, Alabama and Oklahoma. We do have to talk about this game. And the first thing I thought of as soon as this game happened, you can take the Sooners out of the Big 12, but you can't take the Big 12 out of the Sooners. The only
Mhm.
team to blow a 17-point loss in the college football playoff, and they've done it twice.
They have yet to
Ironically,
have a college football playoff win, and they've been in what,
they're
5 or
the
6
only
times?
team to be in at least 5 times and have 0 wins. Every
That
other
is
team that has made the college football playoff at least 5 times has at least 2 national championships. Oklahoma has 0 wins.
That's what Brent Venables gets for wearing an Air Jordan hoodie instead of like an Oklahoma.
Anything branded.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was.
And it was
That was dumb.
It was just straight red. It wasn't like the Sooner maroon or crimson or Scarlet or whatever version of dark
Oh, it
red
was
they
black
call
and it
it.
just had the old Air Jordan like first generation logo on it with the basketball. Like this is the college football playoff.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
a little disappointing.
Yeah. Extremely.
I will say, watching this game, I said out loud to Kelsey right before Alabama's first scoring drive, I was like, Alabama's about to score here. I think there's just something about it. And then they have like a -7 yard play and then a positive 20 yard play, and then that really was the end of the game. Like,
I mean, yeah.
I understand that Oklahoma came back and had multiple chances to, you know, put a dent in this game. And instead of saying, hey, let's just try to score touchdowns, they're like 30-mile-an-hour winds with an All American kicker wearing chubbies. Man, he got it. I ain't worried. I ain't even worried. Boy, what are those? What you got on today? 3-inch inseams? Go out there, boot one. It's like, oh, man, that was actually a really bad kick. You know what? We got you down the field again. Do it again.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they went down 17, I mean, I was just ready. I like just like I'm sure every other Alabama fan is like, you know what? Go ahead and pack your bags, go to Ann Arbor right now. I thought for certain, like 18 minutes in this game,
uh-huh.
we were here hailing the board announcement to Ann Arbor like Sunday morning.
Bro, it was gonna be post game press conference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jimmy Sexton was gonna call his cell phone while he was in the presser. He was gonna be like, "How much?" All right, boys. I am now the official next head coach of the University of Michigan. I will see y'all probably in a bowl game and lose. Like I don't. Ugh. It's and it all comes down. It's all Oklahoma. Like I don't.
Yeah. This turned around so quickly.
I just. It's Oklahoma's defense was dominant. Alabama still could not run the ball in this game. They could
Mhm.
not
Go ahead.
protect Ty Simpson. Ty
They had,
Simpson got his
Did you guys
ass
notice
beat.
at halftime how many rushing yards Alabama had? Or not at halftime, but like before
yeah,
that touchdown drive, how many rushing
yeah, but
yards
they had
Alabama had?
same as they had in the SEC championship.
Exactly -3
Yeah.
again. And then Oklahoma ruined it.
I think Georgia gave Alabama the yips the first 20 minutes of this game. Kind of not as bad as EJU, but man, Ty Simpson was just seeing stuff that wasn't there, like just pressure
Mhm.
and all that, and just getting happy feet, and just it was in a continuation of what we saw a couple weeks ago.
Ryan Williams was
Oh,
still
it's all over.
dropping passes early in this game. Like
Mhm.
there was no Alabama did nothing right for
He's
most of the
17.
first half of this game.
He's 17. You got to forgive him.
Not
Not anymore.
anymore. Yet Ty Simpson -22 rushing yards in this game.
He was getting blown up the first 20 minutes of this game.
They have 28 or 25 carries for 28 yards. That was Alabama's team rushing total for this game.
hmm Now I will say, because I've heard this from some people who have decided they want to be tough guys and think this would be a great Kirby Smart talking point that momentum isn't a thing that matters in college football. And if there's any of those people who are listening to this right now, I would invite you to watch this game because
Uh-huh.
uh the game felt like you said it was shifting before Alabama's first scoring drive. The play that really changed this game was when Oklahoma's punter Grayson Miller decided to just not stick his leg out to kick the ball
Uh-huh.
in a move so baffling that people are calling on him to be investigated for illegal gambling because they can't make sense of it.
I mean, yeah, the moment that he did that, I think that was everybody's thought for sure.
Yeah. But everything in this game turned in that moment. I get Alabama had already scored once before then, but that moment pretty much sealed Oklahoma's fate. And then if that didn't do it, then towards the end of the second half, when Oklahoma looked like they had a chance to see some of that momentum back before the end of the half, that pick six, then it's just all Bama the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Uh,
And to be fair to specifically John Mateer in this game, he was a Heisman contender before he broke his thumb in that game against Auburn. And even in this, like without a brace, he still was clearly not right. He just had some touchdown throws, legitimate touchdown throws, wide open receiver touchdown throws, sail on him. And they all clearly went up and left, which is a thumb side of a throw. Like, it makes sense. It does. But what
It
are the
it
chances that he actually comes back next year to be a part of this exact team with
I
an
think
offensive line that cannot get some of the better running backs in college football to run the football?
Yeah, and I do just want to gloat for just a minute because I did call Oklahoma season being ended because John Mateer made a costly mistake uh, earlier this year, like before he broke his thumb. I did call that, and I'm gonna take credit for it.
Well, I guess the Oklahoma players did the same thing that Alabama did to a certain extent when they came to Sanford Stadium and got some part of the hedges when but after the first game that Alabama and Oklahoma had, a bunch of Oklahoma players went to midfield and tried to take a picture, and they made a big old commotion about it.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't,
Heck,
man. I'll be honest. If somebody's gonna take a picture, as long as they're not damaging anything, okay.
yeah,
Like, it's the same thing that goes to the flag planting. If you don't want someone to be able to do that to your stadium, win the game.
yep.
Now, when it comes to damaging property, it's different. Punching a hole in the dirt with a flag that has a not pointed bottom, yeah, kick rocks, like whatever. Taking a picture with a logo, kick rocks, whatever.
Hmm.
Like, if it's not actually damaging property, win the game if you don't want somebody to do something about
Yep.
it. Do y'all have anything else with this one? Because it's just so funny.
I mean, now that Alabama won and Indiana was calling for, or I think at least a couple months ago, calling for like we want Bama. Do they really want Bama now?
Well,
We will find
Indiana
out.
social media pages are sure acting like it.
Yeah.
God, I never want to root for Alabama, but in this case,
I
I
kind
still
of want
might
won't.
have to.
yeah, that's true. I won't, but
Yeah,
it,
I'm still absolutely not. Like,
but if
bro, Kurt Signetti could have gone on national TV and been like, screw the puppies, Kirby Smart's my bitch, and I would still root for Indiana over an Alabama team that shouldn't have even made the playoff.
yeah, I will say too, kind of going along with that thought, though, if Alabama does beat Indiana, I will still join in on the laughing at Indiana.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those. I'm like, don't want either team to win, but I don't know.
I will laugh
Here,
at either team for losing.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny, whatever the result is.
Hmm.
I'll be
Outcome.
honest. If I think the winner of the Oregon and Texas Tech game is gonna put up 40 plus points on whoever wins the Bama Indiana Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because, man, Oregon, like, we're gonna get to it, but JMU statistically had a legit defense against even power conference teams this year, and Oregon looked like they put out the Monstars, and Michael Secret stuff was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, um, but putting off a game that we absolutely don't want to talk about because it was potentially the most disgusting college football playoff game that's ever been played.
It set football back 50 years.
At
Uh,
least.
Look, guys, I understand that it was windy, right? On one side of it, it was windy. That doesn't mean that A&M defensively can't tackle Mark Fletcher. On the other side of it, it was windy. That doesn't mean A&M's offensive line just forgets that they play football.
Facts.
Um, and to be fair, I don't think the defenses were great in this game. I think the offenses were both just that bad because we
Mhm.
saw an almost identical wind in other games that happened throughout the day. Quarterbacks throw actual passes that were actually completed and accurate. And namely, one of those was a guy named Malik Willis later in the afternoon. And fun fact, Malik Willis is not a starting quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. And he still threw a better touchdown pass that was a pass than either quarterback in this game. And as far as the kickers go, the guy on college game day kicked more accurate kicks than either of the kickers in this game. Actually,
Both
either of the three, because Texas A&M used two different guys to miss kicks.
that whole thing
Nothing you've
was
said is
wild.
untrue.
And the whole thing was wild when they asked about that. It's like, oh, if he doesn't have confidence, let's put the other one in. I'm like, that's a way to not instill confidence in these guys. But okay.
Yeah.
And Jared Zirkle used to play for Georgia. He was one of my breakout players a few years ago. Turns
That's
out,
right.
I'm glad I was wrong.
Let's kiss of death, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we don't do breakout players anymore, y'all. It's because if I say they're a breakout, they will transfer.
They're gone. They are gone.
Immediately.
Now, in his case, he lost a place kicker job to
true
Peyton
freshman.
Woodring and was just kicking off at Georgia.
Yes.
So fair, but
I will say one of the things that drives me insane about this Miami and A&M game was one, Mario Cristobal talking about God after he hugs a man that's actively high on cocaine. Just it's an odd thing to do right there.
Mhm.
And yes, we are talking about Michael Irvin. If he's not on cocaine, I want to know what supplements he's on. Just upfront, honest question, Mike. If you're not on that Miami pre-workout, what are you doing? Because I need it. I need to have that much energy in my about to be 30s.
yeah.
But Carson Beck actually getting applauded and treated like he won this game, and then acting like he won the Heisman after winning this game. It's something that Carson's always done, regardless of his performance. He's going to act like he's God's gift to the earth. If y'all haven't looked at his stat line for this game, he was 14 and 20. Decent, right? Like, we wouldn't be mad at Gunner going 14 and 20 in a college football playoff game.
No.
14 and 20 for 103 yards, and his only touchdown pass of the day was a touch pass in which he didn't actually have to throw the football. He tossed it forwards. That was his stat line. 14 and 20 for 103 yards.
And they may treat him like he was a hero for. I mean, this is the first time Miami's done anything of consequence since 2001. So
yeah, I don't. And
Oh, set.
specifically, Booker McFarland. I want to know what Miami pays him to just gluck Miami 8 days a week, because it'll be like, oh, what do you think about the SEC title game? Man, Carson Beck down at Miami is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Like, I understand his stat line isn't necessarily there, but he is the most accurate. It's like, man, we asked about
Right.
Alabama and Georgia and Atlanta, and why are you talking about a team that's not even playing on
Right.
on championship weekend? But that's just what ESPN does.
Yeah. Probably makes sense then that Johnny Manziel no-showed College Game Day.
Allegedly, something
Allegedly
medically
no-show.
happened,
Yeah.
and he was not able to leave Miami.
That, it looked a lot like it was induced by a certain type of beverage designed
I
for
will say,
adults.
I read, and I am not sure how true this is. I read that someone put something in a beverage of his that made it to where
Well, he couldn't.
like I said,
I mean, he should have a tolerance to that, whatever it is, right?
I read it in one place, and I'm not even sure. I don't even remember what place it was, but
Gotcha.
it
Well,
is 2025. That is something
That
that I
is-
could absolutely see happen, especially being in the city of the team that your team is playing against tomorrow when you're supposed to be on College Game Day for a boxing match. Like, why
Yeah.
would you go to Miami for a boxing match to watch Jake Paul get his jaw broken in two places the day before you're supposed to go?
that is also fair. That I had not seen that had happened, but like you, it would not surprise me one bit.
Um, is there? So Miami is playing Ohio State now.
Boo.
All right,
Boo.
Mike. This is specifically a question for you. How
Okay.
hard are you cheering for Ohio State? Because a giant meteor is not an option.
If only it
No,
were.
I mean, really, I mean, if it came down to it, I guess I would have to pull for Miami in this case, just because I would love to see if, let's say,
Get the
hopefully,
matchup, yeah.
yeah, I want the matchup. We
I
should be the one to put Carson back to sleep.
I just don't. Miami doesn't deserve to be here. Miami didn't deserve to win that game. I just
In
don't.
fairness, though, is that not another reason why we should root for them to get an easier path to the
Yeah.
final?
There's there's enough Ohio State fans in my life that I want that game.
Okay.
No, I mean,
Like,
I would be good either way. I mean, I really,
I'm not
whatever the
complaining.
result is, it's going to be funny. Again, just like
well,
the other one
I mean,
we talked
to
about.
be fair, Georgia does have to beat an Ole Miss team that somehow seems to be better now than they were earlier in the year.
That is true.
Did they win by more than the original matchup?
I have no idea.
So I don't think Oregon covered.
Oregon, man, every time I turned around in that game, James Madison in the second half was just somehow getting another touchdown. So I have no idea what the final score was.
It was 51-34. Oregon won by 17.
So
Yep.
Oregon didn't cover. Interesting there.
That is
Yeah.
interesting.
I want to say Ole Miss won by a few points less in this one than they did earlier in the season.
So what, they won by 30? Yeah, they won by 31. They won by 35 earlier this season.
Yeah.
So slightly, ever
Yep.
so slightly,
Mhm.
in almost the exact same fashion.
Yeah. And I will say, before we even get into this Tulane at Ole Miss game, because the next two games are the group of five games, we have to have a conversation about the group of five playoff spot because everybody's having it. And the does the group of five playoff team deserve to be in? And here's my issue with the conversation and with people saying that Tulane and James Madison didn't deserve to be in the playoff because in my opinion, that is factually incorrect. I They may not have been two of the best 12 teams in the country. They may not have had a chance to win the playoff, but they deserve to be there based on the rules that have been set for what the past 5 years. The 12-team
Yeah,
playoff has been set up,
like we
and
we knew what this was going in.
exactly. We knew exactly what was going to happen. And based on the rules that have been set, and that the playoff committee changes every single year because, oh, well, this team that we think should have been in didn't get in. So we got to change the rules a little bit. Or this
Hmm.
team that we wanted to make it further didn't. So we got to change the rules a little bit. And that's the way the rules are written. Both Tulane and James Madison absolutely deserve to be in the playoff. Because if this was about the best teams making the playoff, why do we have a regular season? Take the top 12 in 247 talent composite, do a playoff. Why do we have any other games? If it's just about being most talented or being the best team, why do we have a regular season? Why do we have conference
Right.
championship games? Because at the end of the day, the games still matter. Notre Dame's not in the playoff because they lost to the only two ranked teams they played. USC kind of counts, right? Like Notre Dame lost to two playoff teams. They lost to the last team that got in with the same record as the last team that got in. That's why they're not in the playoffs. So the games still matter. And for the I understand Notre Dame or Texas or Vanderbilt would have played a better game against Ole Miss or Oregon. Like I think that is absolutely fair to say. But to say that there would not have been blowouts if either any of those three teams had made it in over one of these group of five teams, let's just go through this list of blowouts in the 14 playoff with power conference teams. Alabama lost 44 to 16 to Clemson in 2018.
Mhm.
Oklahoma lost 63 to 28 to LSU in 2019. Ohio State lost 31 to 0 to Clemson in 2015. Ohio State lost 52 to 24 to Alabama in 2020. TCU lost 63 to 7 to Georgia in 2022. Florida State lost 59 to 20 to Oregon in 2014. Michigan State lost 38 to 0 to Alabama in 2014. SMU lost 38 to 10 to Penn State last year. Notre Dame lost 30 to 3 to Clemson in what was that 2018?
Was that
Mm,
was it? I think it was 20. No, hang on.
Anyways, and then last year Tennessee lost 42-17 to Ohio State. All of those were power conference teams.
Hmm.
Let's see, one,
Except Notre Dame, but they're basically considered one.
right. Two of those were SEC schools current at the time. Three of those were SEC schools now. One, two, three Big Ten schools. Like I don't to say that there would have been no blowouts if Vanderbilt, Texas, Notre Dame, any BYU, doesn't matter. To say that those teams would not have gotten blown out is just factually incorrect because we have no idea, but two, we've had blowouts in worse fashion by teams that won power conferences. And some of those, they won power conferences and beat another power conference champion to get to the title game and still got
Hmm.
their teeth kicked in. So, unless they change the rules, which is likely at this point, to just because they have to appease people and make more money, right?
Yep.
They're probably going to remove the group of five to some extent. But to say that these teams did not deserve to be in the playoff doesn't take into account the other blowouts or the fact that these teams actually went out onto the field and won the games that mattered, unlike Texas and Vanderbilt and Notre Dame. So, like,
I will say, in fairness, though, the best performance a group of five team has had in the college football playoff so far is a 17-point loss.
which was James Madison.
James Madison tied with Cincinnati actually in 2021.
Yeah, like, I mean, it would there. Do I truly believe that Notre Dame, Texas, or Vanderbilt would have given Ole Miss or Oregon, probably Ole Miss, a better game? Sure. Like the James Madison and Oregon game was entertaining because Oregon was just deep shot, deep shot, deep shot, deep shot, and James Madison somehow was taking the Tosh Lupoli and Dan Lanning defense and being like, "Hey, if we throw enough trick plays at you, we will score points." Like I was entertained,
Yeah.
personally, and
Yeah.
if the end of the thing, if at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is take the 12 most deserving teams, the teams that won the games that mattered, and put belt to ass on the field when it counted. James Madison and Tulane were the teams that deserved to be there.
Yeah. And I'm fine with doing people are like, well, let's just do the 12 best teams. I'm fine with doing 12 most deserving because best is subjective.
Right.
And at least most deserving, you could point to criteria and stuff that you control your own destiny. If you do these things, you will make the college football playoff.
Yep.
And they easily could have done that. But I would rather you advocate for a change in the college football playoff than get a memorandum of understanding written up with them that almost guarantees you a playoff spot if you play an easy enough schedule. That's what
At
I have a
Notre Dame.
problem with. Yeah, at Notre Dame.
Like if Notre Dame goes 10-2 next year and loses to the only two teams that they play that are legitimate competition, I will not I legitimately will not watch that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We
if we
will
if we get a repeat of this season, except Miami is 10, Texas A&M is 11, Notre Dame is 12. By the memorandum of understanding, Notre Dame will jump the other two teams to get
Mhm.
into the playoff. It's wild.
And I promise you, if that happens, and somebody hold me to this, if that happens next season, we will not acknowledge that game happened. We will not talk about it. We will completely avoid that game, with the exception of if somehow Georgia's playing in it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only way
Yeah.
that we will talk about that game, because they're lawfaring their way and backdoor handshake dealing their way into a guaranteed playoff spot when they can't just win the games that matter.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
it.
You know,
Win.
yeah, you know what's crazy? There is a sport in college athletics that has a selection committee for a playoff that has actual criteria that you can look at and you can know, oh, my team did this. That's going to give them a better chance of making the playoff. It's basketball. You've
Yeah,
got the quad system and all that in basketball, like objective metrics. If you don't have conference championships or head-to-head to compare, these are the things we can look at.
yeah. And
And in the case of the committee, like they've got criteria that they give us, but nothing specific. It's just, oh, we look at the eye test. Oh, we look at, personnel changes and
strength of
talent.
schedule, but
Yeah,
also strength of schedule only kind of matters at certain points in time and will also determine how strong your schedule is
right,
by who you're ranked next to and
right.
who we want in the playoff.
Yeah, well, head-to-head is the second most important thing we look at, but actually we only look at it if the two rankings are kind of close to each other. And by kind of close, I mean if Notre Dame and Miami are two rankings apart, then we'll put Notre Dame first. But if they're one ranking apart, we'll put Miami. What are we doing?
Yeah, and like also the Alabama making it in after getting blown out in the conference title game, and I just look, is Alabama potentially going to make the semifinal this year? Yes.
Sure.
Did they deserve to after getting belt to ass by Florida State, belt to ass by Oklahoma at home, and belt to ass in their conference championship game? No. I don't I don't care if it was an extra game because at the end of the day, if Alabama didn't want to play an extra game, potentially lose that extra game, they could have declined an invitation to the SEC championship game.
Yep.
Like if you're scared to play and you don't want these games to matter, quit having them.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, Kirby Smart at the University of Georgia will never turn down that game.
No. We actually
Because
like having trophies and winning games. We actually think the SEC means something to us here.
right,
Yep.
and I guarantee you, if Georgia had lost that game, they wouldn't have just dropped from 3 to 5. They wouldn't have just gone from first round bye to the top seed of a team without a bye. Like Georgia would have been lucky to get a home playoff game had they lost to
Mhm.
Alabama, and
Yep.
losing that game would have mattered if it was the other way around.
Yep.
So I don't want to hear any argument you have. The playoff system needs to be fixed, and it has nothing to do with the group of five.
Agreed.
Yep.
Anyways,
Facts.
going back to Ole Miss because they truly did put belt to ass, unlike coked out Michael Irving spanking a trash can from winning a game by 7 points in which you guys just got a turnover at the end of the game when the other team was on the 2 yard line. And if Marcel Reed had just walked forwards, it would have gone into overtime. But that's an entirely different conversation. Um, I think Ole Miss won the game in this fashion because of how many people on that staff and on that team needed to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pete Golding needed to prove that he could be a head coach at a high level. First time head coach in college football. Won a playoff game, his very first game. The offensive staff, whether they are staying at Ole Miss or going to LSU, needed to prove that they could actually call plays without being directly under Lane Kiffin. The defensive coordinator needed to prove that he could call plays because he's brand new defensive coordinator on this team. The defense needed to prove that they could shut down a good offense because the Tulane that had what was it, week 3, Tulane and Ole Miss played in Oxford. Jake Retzloff had been the quarterback for 6 weeks at that time. He's been the quarterback longer between those two games than before that game. So it was a much better Tulane offense yesterday than it was early in the season, and the defense still shut them down. And Ole Miss went out and proved that 2 lane, no lane, 8 lane highway. The Rebs are going to put belt to ass if you give them an opportunity. To be that is entirely and almost only with Trinidad Chambliss and Kewan Lacey because
Mm-hmm.
boy, they stalled like somebody learning to drive a stick shift on a hill after those two went out, but they came back.
Yep. And they got to be relieved about that for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that was I've got to give it to Tulane again just for the physicality that they played with because the group of five conferences don't get a whole lot of credit for that. A lot of them don't play as physical as you find in the SEC. I know this cliche like, oh, the SEC is so physical. But again, those things only happen because Tulane was trying their best to actually hit these fools.
Yeah.
And again, you never cheer for an injury, so I'm glad everybody's okay. But that could have been a big problem for Ole Miss going into the next game.
Yeah. And as we stand right now, Georgia's a 6.5 point favorite over Ole Miss in 10 days, 11 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting into the last game we're talking about, and there's not a whole lot to talk about here because this was just James Madison in the second half was just trick play, trick play, trick play, trick play, touchdown. That was their entire offense, and it worked well. But James Madison at Oregon, and my first note is take the over on the Orange Bowl with Texas Tech and Oregon, either because Texas Tech, with how good their defense is, hits the over by themselves, and Oregon gets 10 points, or Oregon's offense is truly the fastest offense in the country player wise, and it's like a 42-38 just all timer of an Orange Bowl. And both teams score points, unlike Florida State. And I will say one of the things that impressed me most about James Madison in this game is even if it was a lot of trick plays, and even if it was a lot of misdirection, 509 total yards on a Dan Lanning and Tosh Lupoi defense when Oregon tried to shut you down for 4 quarters is wildly impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Absolutely.
way different than the under 265.5 or whatever I took before this game on team yards.
Yeah, it was honestly a lot of the players on James Madison's team. I thought they were just reading off the character list of like the Sopranos at points with wildly Italian East Coast names, but you know they were doing it. I
Mm-hmm.
for what it's worth, James Madison, I feel like can be more proud of themselves than Tulane can because I just 509 yards and 34 points in Autzen Stadium, something that no other team has done in years.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, not Ohio State, not Indiana, none of that.
right, like no moral victories, but also go ahead and take this moral victory because
Mm-hmm.
no, literally what ESPN said multiple times throughout the day leading up to this game is Oregon can name their number when it comes to points. They can decide how much they want to win by in this game. And they couldn't. They couldn't cover
No,
21 points. Like, could James Madison stop Oregon? No.
no.
But boy, did they put up some points. And Dan Lanning was actually upset about it.
Good.
Yeah, he should be, honestly.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really it when it comes to that game. Oregon's offense is terrifying. They look like they're all the Flash. Even their tight end looks faster than humanly possible. Honestly, Oregon's probably the scariest team left in the playoff if you're a Georgia fan, because everybody else is like a defensive built team that is going to try and stop you, and then they kind of do one thing well on offense. And Oregon seems like a team that if you make one mistake on the defensive side of the ball, it's 7 points every time. Every
Yeah.
mistake is 7 points when you're playing Oregon, and that's
And
terrifying.
for what it's worth, right now Oregon's a 1.5 point favorite, and the total for the game is 52.5 right now.
I love the over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
52.5 sounds wild.
All right, y'all. If you don't know, the second round of the playoff, I'm trying to get it pulled back up here.
I got it up here.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so Wednesday, New Year's Eve, 7:30 is the only New Year's Eve playoff game. Miami against Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. This is the rematch of the 2002 national championship, and Ohio State they got saved by a flag in that game. For anybody that remembers, Miami should have repeated, went back to back, but phantom pass interference gave Ohio State another chance in overtime. They ended up beating Miami in the national championship, but it is a rematch of that. I don't think they've played since then. But Ohio State's a 10 point favorite right now. Total is 41 and a half.
I still kind of like the under in that one.
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
And
Um,
then let's
New
see.
Year's Day, the hangover game. We got a nooner between Oregon and Texas Tech. Yes, this is actually happening. No, you are not still that drunk. Oregon, 1.5 point favorite. Over under on this one, 52 and a half. Um,
I would kill the over on that one.
Yeah, if you can
Absolutely.
get it, if you can get it right now, yeah.
Um, and the Rose Bowl, obviously 4 o'clock. We got Alabama playing Indiana. Indiana 7 point favorite in the Rose Bowl.
Boy,
We're talking
that's
about
crazy.
Indiana being favored over Alabama in
Football.
football.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Wild times we live in.
Indiana going to a Rose Bowl at that.
Yeah.
What?
And then the nightcap, we got Ole Miss playing Georgia in the Sugar Bowl in the prison that is the Superdome. Georgia 7 point favorite according to ESPN. Over under 55 and a half, which I think I kind of like the over in that one personally.
Yeah, I would take the over in that one.
But we're gonna get into all those. We are trying to line up Grayson to come back on and talk about Ole Miss, mainly a lot of the drama. If he's hearing about any players talking about opting out with the transfer portal opening the very next day, any coaching stuff, um, and then how that team has changed between October 18th and now. And then I am working on getting somebody for Texas Tech. Um, I'll be honest, y'all. I have no desire to talk to somebody about Miami. I've never met a Miami fan that I would like to have a conversation with again. So, and we've kind of beat a dead horse with talking to Ohio State people multiple times. So probably gonna not go into that one, and then trying to get somebody with Texas Tech. And
I mean,
we've tried,
I got tons of questions for Texas Tech people
Yeah,
as
I
it
would
with
love to.
recruiting and
yeah.
all that. That would be fun.
And then we've tried somebody for Indiana a couple of times. I think the last time we tried with Indiana was last year before the playoff, and the guy said that he would do the interview, but he was traveling or on vacation, something crazy. So we're gonna reach back out to him and see if we can get something set up with an Indiana person. Um, but we are planning on doing the preview, putting it out around, hopefully on the 30th is when we're trying to put out the preview. May change some things here and there, um, but trying to get out multiple interviews and the preview before New Year's Eve. So we're really excited about that. Um, but best place to find out all that information is on our social media at nothing.finerpod on Instagram, at finerpod on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Just look us up. You will find us there. um, but always remember, y'all, there's nothing finer in the land.
And a
And a
drunk,
drunk, obnoxious
obnoxious
Georgia
Mike
fan.
White is doing amazing things.